everyone. This is Kavita Singh, co-founder of Identity1st. Welcome to our new episode of Leaders Speak. Today we have with us Dr. Niranjan Reddy, Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer of kipi.bi, a leading global data consultancy. Welcome, Dr. Niranjan, to our show. And we would like to start with, the first question will be, if you can just tell us something about yourself and your background and your long experience and rich experience.
Okay, I'll give you a brief because if I start going in all details, it'll take a long time. So I have a overall experience of 25 plus years in the IT, infosec, cybersecurity, and digitization. What is there? So it's been a journey starting with IT as a system administrator, network administrator, then getting into security administration and upgrading yourself slowly because cybersecurity infosec had not been incepted in the early 2000 and all that. It gradually started coming, and that's where I started developing my interest in this particular career and got relevant opportunities. And I feel good that today I'm as a CISO managing the entire landscape of the infra and the security pieces of the organization. So it's been a roller coaster ride, I would say, till date, which is being there. So yeah, I'm enjoying the way I've been there in this. And besides this, I've been an international author. I've written a book, Practical Cyber Forensics, which is doing well for a US publisher. That's a press publication. And I participate in various conferences as a speaker, as a panelist. I keep updating myself to the latest technologies. I have meetups with like-minded CISOs, certain OEMs. What is the technology? What is something which is lagging? And you can look at it in the release of your next version. So being an author. Also that I also do mentorships where I take up some guest sessions at certain colleges, considering my availability of my time, because the CISO's time is involved in a lot of things. So
Right.
That's how I've actually been doing this, and I continue to do this. Maybe going forward, I look at more of the mentorship and creating good cybersecurity professionals for the industries they would wish to work to. So yeah, that's where I would brief myself in short.
Sure. Thank you so much. So now let's start with my second question. What are the most demanding challenges that CISOs are currently facing in their roles? How do they overcome them? And how should they overcome them?
It again would vary from industry to industry. If you're in a BFSI, which I'm not part of at the moment, so they have a very different requirement and mandates, which management approves it, and they do the implementation with topmost priority. I mean, that has been given. Whereas you're coming down to the other industries like manufacturing, for example, or you talk about the automobile industry, okay, or pharma, also. There are a lot of challenges we face because cybersecurity is something where it's not something which is a very open topic where management or you discuss it across the board, telling this is being there, because it's as long as business is doing well and things, the backbone of IT is running well, we don't bother much that, or you've been hit by a ransomware, or you've been hit by a cyber attack where reputation loss and financial loss will impact. So it's always been a challenge to justify the management that if I have to invest in a tool or invest in a technology, what is the reason and what are the benefits? So there's a lot of, I would say, challenges in or time spent in proving it to the management, who are, most of them are non-technical. I mean, when you talk of the investors or the directors, the board members, so telling them, so there's a lot of work put in the background that if it happens, so you need to do a complete presentation, with a lot of analytics in it. In case it happens, since we have this particular, thing which requires this technology, if you don't safeguard this, there's a lot of, attacks which are already happening and industries have been hit. So tomorrow we could be also, in a similar fashion hit. So giving that the entire, picture of it, and then taking it and then getting an approval and then implementing, that is one of the things. And again, being a CISO, I mean, there are a lot of internal things which keep, happening, minor things, which is not a major impact, but you need to pay attention to even the small things. I mean, like, it's not just having the mindset that I have the technologies of cybersecurity implemented, I have a SOC, I have an endpoint security, all that. There is a lot of detailing needs to be done. It's not just operations. I mean, you need to also look at the logs, see if something is there, because if you look at the advancement of the sophisticated attacks which happen, so they are basically, over a period of time they do it. I mean, they are like they're doing lateral movement in your network, which is, they're there and slowly they're doing it and then, finally code it. So in order to counter all of this, you need to have, or even though having the mechanism, you need to optimally utilize it, which in some cases, even having the technology, you realize they've still been hit. It's because they must have not gone into the granular thing or the proper mechanism of monitoring and seeing or taking something seriously. Is this really there? Is it something suspicious, and what needs to be done? Getting into a RC of it, a root cause analysis, and then coming out. So that's the overall thing. So I look at it that way, and also having something called as red teaming, which we do to check whether the technologies we have implemented is actually serving our purpose and doing the right thing. We get one is showing the manager you're getting the ROI for the investment. Second is, of course, the ROI is coming in, but then from a technology perspective and a security perspective, is it really doing its job, what it's meant, and what the OEM has committed, and are we utilizing all the functions which we have got in that particular license? So all of those things. So it's like not a one-time task is what I want to say. It is an ongoing thing. So a lot of your time will go in this, and again, mentoring your team to do it. If they get stuck up somewhere, telling them, this is how we need to go about it, all of those things. So it's an entire journey, I would say, which every day has a new challenge. And then if something out of the blue comes in, that's like, a sleepless night. So it's not a peace of mind job. It's how you manage and handle things. And the biggest challenge I feel in this is the people whom you recruit have to be like your family. You need to treat them like a family member. If you treat them as an employee and this thing, he's not going to stay for long. There's a lot of opportunities in the market. So keeping the good people and mentoring them and, giving them their career roadmap and the relevant benefits, I would say is also a key challenge for a CISO to have it and take it up as a challenge, not just with the technology, but it's called a people's management or team management in the InfoSec, because it has multiple technologies, and you have specialized, you need core competency people for it. I can't have a web app pen tester who's doing a DevSecOps look after my firewall or my identity access management. I need a specialized guy for that. So that's why you need to take care of the individual people or departments. Yeah.
There are quite a good number of challenges then today for CISO.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Coming to my next question, what are your concerns within cybersecurity today, if I may ask?
Concerns, again, coming back to retainership of good employees who have been really good. Because, see, what happens is, you lose a good employee because he knows your environment, he knows your entire thing. Okay. So, one is, getting a replacement or retaining him becomes one of the challenge. Second is there are a lot of, the threat hunting part, we have a SOC. So there's a lot of traffic and a lot of attacks which keep coming and doing that. So analyzing that and seeing what is relevant and what is it that, is being targeted and, safeguarding that particular thing. The other part I look at is the DLP policies, data leak prevention policies. So this was something which I informed HR. So there are a lot of people who are serving the notice period. Okay. People serving the notice period are not the same way you will treat an employee who is working, without his notice period or he's not yet to resign. So you need more surveillance in that. So taking those precautions or having a separate layer of monitoring is something, which I would say is a key thing which you need to look at because they are the ones who can take off the data. I mean, you need to be more cautious. They could look out ways how data can go, and it could be good information to the company which he's going. So this again is a very major challenge of, you talk of loyalty. I mean, even though you put technology, there would be certain ways where he will look at the bug. So identifying these bugs where the data can leak in real time is something which as a CISO and his team should really be involved in doing it. Because if you look at whatever goes out of the organization, because there have been a lot of insider threats. Okay. Right. So if you have a weak technology, this guy going out will tell, yaar, this company mein ye tha, but hamare isme nahi tha. So, those things can spread and you never know what information will be taken and, you could be the next target. So overall, this would be what I would, look at implementing and talking about.
And how do you think you can address it? Like, what are the measures that you take as a, as a CISO, simple steps which may at least try to mitigate it, if not completely,
Yeah, so I make my efforts. Like I tell the HR, whenever you have a person serving the notice period, you're the first thing you need to inform us, and then we put them into a different, domain, where there's more surveillance without the employee knowing about it. So we know what, it's like more of, tracking to safeguard that our proprietary or confidential information is not going out. That's one way. Even though we have the technologies, but there are always ways telling, I would want this and I want something, but he's indirectly taking something else which is confidential from the company. So I look at doing this and also monitoring. So there is something also called as the risk mitigation, the risk analysis. So I look at various risks which are there, which lie, and then we maintain that index as to this risk is there. I mean, what is the way we need to nullify it, and what is the percentage it would carry in terms of a damage to the organization. So I do that quantification which is there, and based on that, I do, because there are certain exceptions.
Right.
There's a project lead who has to have a USB access,
Right.
but in that, I mean, he has a lot of confidential information on this. So then you need to have that thing closely monitored, because he is having whole and soul this thing of that source code and the thing. So unless the different BUH tells, so what I would say is you need to be interactive. You can't be a CISO just sitting and doing a switching job. You need to interact with the different BUs, because a CISO's job is the entire organization, which comprises of multiple departments. It could be the backend departments, accounts and finance, which also requires attention. So interacting with them, making them aware. So, having that communication on a regular basis, developing a rapport with all of them is one thing where you will address, what is needed to be done, and it's a win-win situation for both. So they know that we're doing something and they need to adhere to it. We also know that rather than just sending a mail, this is what you'll have to do. It becomes very obnoxious to say that you'll have to follow this. They also will not follow it. So you need to also handle people's mindset.
Yes.
Yeah. So handle, they are also in stress and all that. And then top of it, we start putting all these policies and enforcing a lot of things. So you need to, take them in confidence, interact with them, and do all of those things.
So a lot of human intervention is required. Whatever is said, like automation can, but again, the human relationship plays a very important role today.
Yeah.
Coming to my next question, Doctor, though I know success is very hard today, talk in cybersecurity, but if I may ask, what are the biggest success that you think cybersecurity industry is experiencing today, despite the challenges and that we are talking about? I'm sure there is quite a bit of success, and we have moved the needle. So if you can highlight that.
So success, I would say, is they've brought in the technologies. I mean, the advancement in technologies like zero trust. Okay, so instead of I will think of zero trust, where I can remove certain outdated technologies like VPN. I may not need to use a VPN.
Right.
Okay, then I need to have my VLANs. I mean, I segregate my network. So if there's an attack, I mean, it's contaminated to that particular department and not spreading across the organization. So my damage is minimal. So these technologies have have been there in the market. Of course, now with the top up of AI ML, which is adding more intelligence and efficiency and resilience. So that is always there. But in spite of having all of this, properly configuring it and maintaining it is also there. So there are good technologies, there are good managed services by companies who are offering that also. It is all good. But end of the day, you need to see how much you need to give it to the third party, how much you need to manage it internally. So you need to balance that once you understand what are the risks, which I'm, taking by outsourcing my entire thing into a third party, and, I do only a small bit of it. So all of these factors overall, I will say is, which is there. But success as such is, again, I won't say it is, success, because it's again for the individual. I mean, the CISOs individually with their teams to optimally utilize the technology and safeguard. So even if I say, I mean, I've got the best of firewall, but I've misconfigured it, it can be breached. So, that's something which is there. Even the best of best cars, Mercedes-Benz, it's not that they're giving you you're not going to, you're not going to be killed if you're in the car and you have a impact. No, that's not the case.
Right.
Yeah. So it's how you maintain a speed. So here you maintain your resilience and your monitoring mechanisms, what are being there. You can't let the damage go to the maximum when you know that it is at the initial stage. So all of those factors contribute. But overall, yes, cybersecurity. The other part I want to highlight is a lot of conferences which are been happening very regularly. A lot of people who are sharing their experiences, which is a very good thing. Which these conferences of cybersecurity have been, doing great. But they have offshore conferences. I mean, going to another city where you do a brainstorming across the table. Well, I know his challenge. I have a solution to his challenge. Or he has, I mean, I have a challenge and he has something where he's implemented and a proven thing. So overall, this particular way of having these conferences and get together of CISOs and all of that, CIOs, it's a very good this thing what we are getting, and it's helping us. So that's one more way I would say the overall
best practices getting exchanged.
Exactly. Yes. Best practices. Yes. And challenges and all of those.
And challenges as well. How would you describe experience as a CISO in the age of AI? especially?
See, AI has always been there. Now it's becoming more advanced. I mean, we've been
Right.
using, when from the time you're using an iPhone, you have Siri. Siri is nothing but an AI. I mean, you tell the command, it's doing it.
Right.
Alexa is there. Yeah, Google Dot. All of these things are there. So now with AI ML, from when Chat GPTs come, which is like you don't need to Google. I mean, or you don't know to go to WikiLeaks, because what this does in the backend is picking up stuff from WikiLeaks and
Right.
giving it to you in a format. So it's easing out your life. Okay. Now coming on to the IT industry or infosec, automation is something which is saving on my time and maybe some cost savings. Where you have IT help desk where people will have to come and tell their problem, or there's a person coming from another office and he wants to connect to the Wi-Fi. He doesn't need to come to the IT help desk and tell configure it for me to connect to the Wi-Fi. He can do a self-help where we have something called as IT bots. So we program that, we do that, which is nothing but AIML. I mean, which is there. So it's saving a lot of time and it's creating a good, I would say, a seamless experience for the users. There's a lot of time saved because if I have one IT engineer who's been, handling 4 to 5 people at the same time coming. He's not able to suffice, and people are losing their time. So the bot part is I just need to sit, on my system and answer it and then get it configured and do it. So that is
Right.
something which I would say with this thing, and digitalization, of course, you're doing a lot of digitalization, implementing a lot of automation and digitalization, which is all again, having the ingredients of AI and ML, machine learning and artificial intelligence. So that is something which we are heading to, and it's been doing a fair amount of, giving a good amount of advantages in the cybersecurity. It is like anything coming is with AI. If you look at the tool now you want to purchase, it's coming
Right.
with AI intelligence.
Yes.
So that is something which is there. So overall, it's been a good way for us to implement technologies with AI where it's heading. So we need to see the future. Again, there are hackers are also using this. So the attacks are going to become more sophisticated. If we are
That's what.
using it for our safeguard, they are also utilizing it for their for the attacks. For the attack.
Right. Right. Could generative technologies outpace an organization's ability to establish effective cybersecurity measures?
No, generative AI, I would say it will be a balance. It just can't be that it will be the thing. So it's going to be a mix and match of both, is what I would, say. I just can't say that only generative AI is going to be doing the entire thing. So it's going to be a mix and match of both, is what I would, give my opinion as.
So it'll be a fair balance, kind of.
Yeah, you could say a fair balance. I won't say that is entirely going to be, on the upper hand and, the intervention is not going to be there. No, it will be a balance between both.
Given the potential misuse of generative AI by cyber criminals today, should there be stricter regulations on its development and use by hackers, or would that hinder innovation?
See, there are always two sides, of a coin, as we say. Okay.
Right.
So again, there are advantages and disadvantages. So if innovation is going on, yes, it's taking you to the next level. Look at it in the medical industry. Medical industry, you have robot surgeries which are there, which has lesser blood loss, faster recovery time, minimal stitches. Okay. So that is really innovative, this thing. Now we're looking at the other side where a person is using AI to, write a code or write a script, in no time and trying to hack into this thing. It is the misuse what is there. So it's like whatever is being given for innovation and this thing, which is always advantages, it has its other part of it where it can be misused. So that is something which is not in our control. So even if regulation, they just have to put in now laws that deepfakes. It's a crime.
Right.
I mean, if you do it. So those amendments will be done by our regulators on this particular thing, with AI being so much utilized, since the advancement is there in the attacks which are becoming more sophisticated. So that is always going to be there, which is AI, and the advantages and disadvantages are going to be there. So innovation, yes, it's doing great ways of innovating and doing the thing, but regulations, I mean, you can't stop. I mean, even though you have IT laws, you have the IT amendment laws, you have guidelines and frameworks, still there are ways to breach. And it's not that the crime rates are reducing. I mean, they're still going on. It's all because of the you're not able to have a complete 360. This thing that I have 10,000 endpoints, all of them are up to date. I can just try my maximum best to see that they've been the same. There could be some leakage point which the cyber criminal will take advantage and try to compromise or take advantage. Or the other part is the insider threats. I can look at a person who is a disgruntled employee of an organization and I befriend him and I start taking information and I give him some benefits. There are a lot of things that happen. There have been certain hacks in the past which have happened many years
Right.
back. The Sony hack, if you look at the very high-end sophisticated attacks which have happened, there's always
Right.
been an insider involved in that. So
Correct.
that's how it is. So here I don't have AI/ML to stop that or do that. It's again human intervention and human nature basically which comes in place.
So how can CISOs strike a balance between enjoying the benefits of generative AI and ensuring they don't inadvertently contribute to the risk of more sophisticated cyber attacks?
See, it's again the technology, as I mentioned, it's, the existing technology. They're not new technology will come that I need to outdate a particular tool, which maybe a new version has come with the AI and ML capabilities. I'll take an example for this. Okay. Now there is this chat GPT which is there. Okay.
Right.
Now there are a lot of, considering an ITS company which is working on various clients and, development projects and analytics, if you take, there are certain instances which can save a lot of time. Okay, maybe for example, as a debugging of a code or debugging of a thing. So, you can utilize it for that where it is going to speed up. So it has its advantages. I'm able to save on time. I'm able to get better accuracy. Okay, than the human, viewing of the lines of code. The other part of it is I need to enforce a policy in the organization. I don't want it to be misused beyond a certain limit. I put in my levels of usage. Okay, not going beyond that. Where I upload a source code which I'm not supposed to, and there's that's like going to go to the public. I never, there's no guarantee that it's not going to get leaked. I'm risking that. And if I'm doing a proprietary software development for a company, and the user doesn't know that this is a risk what it can happen. So I need to highlight that risk. Have a chat GPT or an AI policy in the organization being implemented and for users to follow it. So that's one way where you look at, you're balancing between both, where you're telling them to use, but with restrictions and to what level. And the other thing is not getting misused. So you're taking the benefit of both. You're safeguarding it also, and you're utilizing it to the optimum.
So coming to my next question, Doctor, what are the, how do you ensure third-party diligence actually? How do you ensure that the third-party vendors whom you all deal with and this, the security is kind of safeguarded there?
Yeah. So we follow the ISO 27000 which is a standard regulatory compliance framework. Okay. So there's a lot of controls in that. I mean, 100 plus control, 94 controls which are there in that. So in that, there's one key and important aspect which is called as external third-party vendor assessment or audits. Okay. So before onboarding, I need to do due diligence. I need to check what are the levels of security they are maintaining, the level of assignment I'm giving it to them, what sort of data is going, do they have that precaution measures, are they assuring me that my data is not going to be leaked? So we do an audit and assessment, and based on that, we actually will then onboard. So this is like a mandate thing to be done. And based on that, we choose our vendors and onboard the respective vendors. So that is something which is required, but not many companies, maybe a person who's, giving me laptops, hardware, may not fulfill the criteria of that. Right. But I am just taking a hardware piece of it. So I can then make my, and we sign master service agreements and NDAs. So that contracts, have all of those points which we have considered, and they are also complying to that, and we also keep the room of doing an audit or assessment. We want to find, if they are compliant and, they need to show their certificate, they need to show certain reports. So we mentioned all that in the MSA as a standard practice, and it's agreed by both parties. And that's how we are able to, have, third-party assessments and, I would say, certified vendors, security certified vendors is what we have based on our due diligence and all of that. So that's how we onboard the vendors.
And one more question, Doctor. Since you said a lot of conferences that you attend, and you all come up with suggestions into the, and so if I may ask, what are the the top solutions at the moment you think that has come up?
So they're common. They're not. See, it's again.
It's very subjective and case to case basis. Yeah.
No, I mean the topic is broadly common everywhere, but the way the person is going to, speak out his way of handling and tackling it based on his experience in his organization is something a unique thing. So ransomware has been the hot topic. Second has been the zero trust implementation and how you need to take it. Then employee awareness, retention of employees. Then there is data privacy. How are you taking it with a new law coming? The law is already passed, but now the rules are yet to, be out. So how are you taking all of these things? So these are the broad topics. And AI ML in, being used in the technology, what are the benefits you get, and how do you leverage to the maximum. Then the SOC, SOC services, what you have, how they are actually, how to make it more efficient, and the threat vectors, how are you going to handle and manage the new kind of threats which come, and alerts which have to come, IOC, indicator of compromise, how are those going to be? So all of these. So these are the broad 5-6 topics which are basically being spoken out in the cybersecurity conferences.
Okay. And if I may ask, sorry, just a question I ask everybody is like, what are the top security concerns for the organizations today? Like they're struggling with like a ransomware or a shadow access or.
So the ransomware attack, which is basically everybody's concern today, because the kind of damage and the in terms of finance and the reputation loss, what it does. So what I've taken, what I've considered out here is you need to have a good regular backups. Okay, so I've put in my backup plan in such a way that I have 3 levels of backup. So even if my on-server, on-prem thing gets corrupted, wherever I've been ransomware hit, I have another device. I have another backup solution, which is a hardware solution where my backup is there, and I have a third one. Even if that gets corrupted, I have it on the cloud. Okay, so I have these 3 levels of things which I maintain it over a period of time. Of course, there's an add-on cost, but it's much better than paying a ransomware. And my backup plan also, I've kept it at a very least, least time of losing my backup. Maybe 48 hours or 24. I mean, that's the minimal which I've kept. I don't lose it later. So that's one thing where you need to take care of ransomware, and then again following the cyber hygiene and sanity checks so that you're not hit, because ransomware is nothing but it finds a vulnerability on your system, and then you're being prone to having your data being encrypted on the system. So taking care and charge of that. Of course, there could be certain human errors which can happen, and you could be hit and prone. It's not that till date everybody who's been hit by a ransomware attack has not taken security precautions or not following the regulatory compliances. It's more of there is always a human error or some kind of a miss which happens, and that's where the cyber criminal, the attackers take advantage of. So that's about ransomware. Second, I would say is retaining your employees who are there. I mean, by showing them a good career roadmap and showing them the growth what is being there. And the third would be being vigilant and performing regular red teaming exercises to check whether all the technologies what we've implemented is performing the way it has to do. Because there could be cases where I've installed an antivirus, but it's not actually updating. It's showing me it's being installed, but then I need to do these regular checks and find out those kind of things. So having a team or few people who would be looking at it, when you're talking of a volume, it's like 2 people dedicated to do this and keep a check of it, and then inform if it's not, and it really helps. I've done this exercise, and we found out many things which could have been a potential threat for threat vector to enter into our infrastructure. Yeah. So this is what I would say.
And now coming to my final questions, though we are in the mid of February, but still I would love to ask this question to you, that what are the top learnings from 2023, and what do you think will be top trends for 2024 when it comes to cybersecurity?
Again, nothing is going to change much as to what the previous 2 years are. I mean, it will be again, ransomware, which is going to be topping the attacks. Second is the advancement in the phishing attacks. That I will also rate it another way. You talk of phishing, you talk of QR code scanning, you talk of the different forms of phishing, the deep fakes, which is being there. Okay, all of these things are going to be at at its peak. I mean, if you look at it, one is from a corporate, second is also from an end user, or as we as individuals in the society. That also is, if you look at the cyber crimes which are being registered, so they're alarmingly increasing, all of these scams and all of that. So they are always going to be the thing. But again, the counter check for this would be more of, as much as awareness you can create to the users from their professional and personal perspective would be a good way to mitigate. I won't say mitigate, I'll say to minimize it, because this is going to be, ongoing thing which is there, because they're finding new techniques, to do these things. Even you implement technologies like a MFA, 2FA and all of that, still there are ways where they're going to bypass it. We need to make this awareness periodic on a regular basis, and have people safeguarding against these things.
So I think everybody has to be cyber educated, like today, like,
Yeah,
they has
stay
to.
safe. Yeah, stay
Yes.
safe, stay alert, and you always have to be. I mean, it's like you can't cross a busy road by just closing your eyes. You need to look right, left. So you need to be vigilant, and always keep understanding what is the, if I'm giving an exception as a CISO, what are the risks I'm going to have and how am I going to mitigate it. So you need to look at it from all, you need to look at it from a 360-degree perspective. It's not just a synchronous kind of a thing, a one-way traffic where I say, okay, I'm giving it and then that's the end of it. No, I need to look at it, what could be the risk. And conducting a lot of tabletop exercises actually makes a very good way of dealing and handling these kind of things. So which I regularly do it on a day, quite often for most of my project or my implementations. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. It was a
Welcome.
it was a pleasure having you, and
Thank
it was
you.
a very insightful discussion that we had, and we look forward to in more discussions of these sort in coming
Sure.
future. Thank you so much.
Pleasure for you to invite me, and looking forward to something where I can contribute, which would help people around to take the relevant steps and know the know-hows of as a CISO. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.